and welcome to Nonprofit Live TV. I'm Larry Brill, and joining me right now is Matt Wilson. He is with Mobile Commons. We're going to talk a little bit about how the mobile technology is helping nonprofits do their thing these days. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
I guess maybe the first question, the most basic question is, what has changed the landscape so much in terms of mobile technology and what it's doing?
Sure. I think first and foremost, we're seeing organizations adding on mobile as a new communications channel. And I think that while a lot of what they're sort of beginning to use mobile starts in conjunction with the way they've been using email. So they've been doing things like building a list, asking people to advocate, asking people to ask their friends to join a cause, asking people to make a donation over their phone. But we're seeing that as the channel evolves, we're starting to see people use text messaging in very different ways. I think two of those are, first and foremost with online and offline, and sort of the combination of being able to collect people and engage people through offline events, and then being able to sort of grab those email addresses and incorporate them back into what they're doing online. I think we're also seeing that text messaging is a much more interactive and engaging form of communication. Even at the summit today, people are filling out wireless surveys where they're asking people to make 3 and 4 responses via text message. That's really not something that email we would have been doing at all. It's really traditionally been just more of a broadcast tool and expect one response.
Now, a lot of people, when they see people, tapping away on their phones, and they're thinking, okay, there's somebody who's doing a tweet or something like that.
Sure.
Explain the difference and how you do work with Twitter, but it's much more than that.
Sure. So Twitter is a closed network of people who have to have Twitter accounts. Whereas while we do have an integration that allows people to tweet a message they're sending out, text messaging is really a much more ubiquitous form of communication.
Like 200 billion?
270 million phones in the United States alone today, whereas I think that Twitter is somewhere in the 20 to 25 million users. And it's, I think we're also seeing that because of such a high number of those, we're really able to hit and communicate with a much broader spectrum of demographics, including spanning age groups and demographics as other kinds of socioeconomic demographics as well.
And when you're looking at that open marketplace, it helps having products like what Convio brings to the table.
Sure, absolutely. So what our clients are really using Mobile Commons to do is kind of really integrate that with what they're doing with Convio. So that might be sharing data from someone who interacts with an organization first through mobile, but then pull that constituent data, get that back into Convio, so a Convio administrator can have a sense of what someone is using Mobile Commons for, how they came onto the list. Additionally, people who want to sign up for mobile can do so through Convio advocacy applications, which is traditionally the highest form of how people actually join lists through mobile.
I think a lot of nonprofit organizations, though, might look at what you have to offer and say, okay, well, text messaging is okay, but that only appeals to young people.
Sure.
And our constituents might be a little bit older, but you say that the demographics don't support that.
Right, that's true. While certainly people in the youngest age brackets use mobile much more than folks in the older age brackets. A client that we just recently signed was AARP, who you may not think would be an organization that would be using text messaging. They actually built a list over the last month with one of their consulting firms, M&R Strategic Services. They built a list of 1,000 activists that they were able to immediately activate when they announced their endorsement of the House healthcare bill. So they were immediately able to send a text message out to these 1,000 people of an age demographic that you wouldn't normally think of using it. There are other organizations too that you might not traditionally think of as meeting this Generation Y demographic, like the National Association of Realtors, who, while are not really in that demographic traditionally, are tied to their mobile phones. And what better way to engage a group of people than by the device that's so important to them.
All right, Matt, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Matt Wilson from Mobile Commons. If you'd like to know more about what's going on at the Convio 2009 Summit in Austin, Texas, you can find it at nonprofitlive.tv. I'm Larry Brill.